everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And tonight, we have to talk about offshore real estate investing. It's apropos in today's climate. No qualifying real estate because it's pre-construction, and so much more. And welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. Stop Struggling Now gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you so much for being here. Please share the videos because you never know who's out here needing help, who's looking for information. And also, whenever the ordinary citizens, that's you, OCs, can actually do something, especially when credit is not involved, but you will need a little bit of cash. But we're not just going to talk about real estate. We have so much more to talk about because it's Friday night. And you guys know what happens Friday night. It's story night. And we'll get into that real shortly. But again, share the videos is very important because you never know who you're out here trying to help. Now, first things first. We always have to support our own. So let yourself be known in the comment section. But our own Professor Auntie Val and family has their beachfrontjava.com business. It's coffee and tea. Remember the promo code, SSN Lifestyle, all caps, all one word. What does that get you? After your first order, discount for life. You've heard me. After your first order, a discount for life when you use the promo code SSN Lifestyle. Coffee, there's at least 15 to 20 different blends, something for everybody, but it's not just any old coffee. It's premium blended coffee. And if you have a Keurig, if you like whole beans, it does not matter. Fine ground and drip ground, all of that is available to you. Take your pick. Go over to beachfrontjava.com to go check it out and show some love. Free shipping in the United States. If you're outside the United States, it's going to cost you a little bit more in shipping. But that's okay. It's, supporting our own in the SSN Nation and those who have businesses. So welcome again to the Financial Friday Night Live Stream. Now, what are we going to talk about? You know what I find very, very fascinating? Here it is. Story night starts early because once again, this goes way, way, way back in the day when I used to be, you guys know the story, a young gun out here trying to make his way, finding out that there's wholesale deals here, as I talked about on Wednesday night in San Francisco, the Garment District, the Diamond District, and you go from there. But there's something else that just happened in today's news, this week's news. China, they said, you know what? We're just going to out these fools all over the world. Dior, Chanel, LVMH, it doesn't matter. They're going Hermes. They're saying, oh, coach, we make the bags in anybody? Bueller, China. That's right. China said, oh, we're just going to out you guys. We are the artisans for 40, 60, 50, 80% of the garment, of the bags. I am laughing all the way because American citizens and people around the world using status symbols, you've been punked. For the last 40 years, and I was telling you guys all along, you don't know when they're telling you it's counterfeit, it's made in the same factory, and you believe it's counterfeit. It's only counterfeit because when it's made at the factory in China, they're shipping it to the other factory to finish it. Just like Callaway golf clubs. They are made in China. They're shipped to Southern California at their manufacturing warehouse. They put it together, add their little Callaway stuff on it, and then they sell it at a higher price to American citizens, because you just can't say it's a Chinese golf club, can you? No. But this has been going on for years. And unfortunately, this is why, what can I tell you? You should not be looking for status symbols, because they do not really exist. It's marketing. I've told you guys before, after you go to the diamond district and you have your wholesale or your permits and you go see how much diamonds really sell for, and then you find out diamonds are not really rare. Once you know the story about the De Beers group, it should piss you off. Because remember, De Beers Group has been hoarding diamonds for the last 100 years. So what happened before movies came out in the early 1920s, 1930s? Marriage was basically, I could jump over a broom in some cases, go down to the courthouse, just a pastor shows up and a few friends, and we're married. But De Beers Group, because diamonds are a girl's best friend, De Beers Group calls up Hollywood and says, hey man, will you, when a guy proposes, make sure he shows a diamond ring? When a guy's gonna give his wife her marriage ring, show the diamond ring. And from there, the rare diamond persona was formed. So from that point on, people thought they should go out and get diamond rings to make engagements, diamond rings to give to their wives. And now what starts happening? Of course, let me see the ring. What size is it? Oh my, it's only a 1 carat. Oh, he's not good enough for you. Oh my, it's a half a carat. Oh, he doesn't love you that much. Making a representation to make people feel bad and make people spend more money for no reason. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen, diamonds are not rare. I hate to tell you this. So, since you know diamonds aren't rare and they actually hoard it, and they actually make sure that the supply is low while they have them in vaults, you think they're rare. You think for 3 carats or so, you should buy it for 20, 30, 40 grand. When in fact, I hate to tell you, it's like worth damn near nothing. But since you believe it's worth something, people are out here buying, going to Jared, right? Okay, that's my story for the day, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, back in the day, in the 80s, there was this thing about wearing Gloria Vanderbilt women wear, what was I can't remember because I wasn't in the brand stuff, but you know, the jeans and people were spending 150, 250, $300 for jean jackets, jean pants, because they were by a designer with a label on. And people would say, Eric, how come you don't wear designer gear? I said, I don't wear other people's stuff. I wear my stuff. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, why am I going to go down here and spend $300, $400, 200, $150 on this stuff when Kim Luck Chung can go down to the fabric store and get me some jean fabric and make it my design, and I can put whatever name I want on it. I'll have my shirts done. Why should I buy theirs? Doesn't make any sense. Why am I going to spend $150? Kim Luck Chung can do it for me for $12, and it's mine, made for me. I said, this doesn't make any sense to me. And they said, no, this isn't, no, I got to wear that. I got to show the Louis. I got to show the Armani suits. I got to show all this stuff. You know, they're special. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, how much money do you think people have wasted over the last 40, 50 years believing that they were having luxury brands because of promotion and marketing? Now, speaking of promotion and marketing, that should be a lesson in itself. Jawway J's in the house. Thank you so much for being here and welcome to the SSN Nation. Financial Friday night live stream. And he says his tagline this evening, another investor. He's here. Hello, SSN Nation. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday to you and happy Good Friday to everybody. Easter is here on Sunday. Another day in the capitalist Christianity system that people are out here buying Easter eggs, rabbits, baskets, chocolates, goodies. When the story goes, a man named Jesus, persecuted, rose from the dead. A great story, but here's the thing. What does it have to do with what we call Easter in America and around the world? The bunnies, the Easter egg hunt, and all this stuff. Funny how it's translated into we gotta buy something to make something happen. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it. All right. Now, remember those liabilities that I was talking about? You gotta drop off liabilities, right? That is your key for 1 year, 8 months. That's what you have. Your goals, 775 plus credit score. Your goal, wealth building, dividends, real estate, and no more liabilities. And once you understand a home is a liability, then you may understand you want to be paying the less rent, the less amount of mortgages that you can pay. If you have a mortgage already, if you have a rent note. And a lot of people, they go, I rent, I lose money. I own a mortgage, I gain. But again, this is not the time to talk about it. But is it? Okay, it's the time. When you have a mortgage, ladies and gentlemen, there's more than just a mortgage that's carried with you. And there's a bunch of unknown factors in your future. Unfortunately, a lot of people do not keep record of what they spend on their own. And by not doing that, they think it is a asset. The banks want you to believe that when they own the note. Now, all I'm going to say is, starting today, anybody who sees this video, write down everything you've spent for your home over this month, last 5 months, if you're keeping track. If not, start today and go every day how much you spent on your home. And what do I mean by that? Some people will just say, well, my mortgage is, let's just say $2,300 a month. But see, that's correct. But if you don't pay your annual property taxes, and it's probably what's going to be the average, around 3,000, 3,500 a year. So you're going to add that, right? You're going to have to add that in, a monthly fee. Everything that's annual, you should do monthly. Your insurance, break it out over 12 months until your premium comes due. All of that has a monthly fee. Water, sewer, and garbage, you got to pay it whether you're home or not, right? That's how it works. What about mowing the lawn? What about upkeep of your lawn? What about a roof repair? What about washer dryer that you had to go buy? What about a refrigerator you needed to repair? What about the backyard that you wanted to cut down a tree? What about all these other expenses related to you maintaining this property that you don't even own? That's right. You heard what I said. You have a mortgage, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't pay 4 months, the third month, you're going to get a pre-foreclosure notice. The fourth month, well, you'll probably be in a foreclosure situation. So after that, all the money, all the time and energy at work you spent is in an asset because it could be gone, right? You understand this, right? But here's the other funny part about this. When I get my computers back up, that'll be another 2 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. I just got some more bad news that I can't get this Wi-Fi that I need here. I found out it runs off of Xfinity Wi-Fi from the neighborhood. So if somebody has Xfinity, you can have an Xfinity hotspot if they allow their WPS to be on. So the one night that I was on live using my computer again, was because somebody had their WPS on. So then that way it gives a hot spot to everybody around this neighborhood. I found out a whole bunch of stuff. I said, oh, that's pretty ingenious, but that does me no good, ladies and gentlemen. Does me zero good while I'm sitting here for another 2 weeks. So anyhow, the point I'm trying to make is we're talking about real estate tonight a little bit and anything else, okay? Does not matter, but I want everybody to understand there's some people that go, it's an asset. The reason why people say it's an asset is because a bank wants you to buy it. And because it's an asset, starting around 1980 and beyond, a home increased in value more than 1, 2, or 3% annually. All of a sudden, you have these pops. Well, there's reasons. Tax cut, tax breaks, Federal Reserve reducing interest rates, all this stuff, manipulation to allow people to have 2% loans, 3% loans. So then everybody starts buying and increases the value of the homes ridiculously, 20 to 30% in a year or more. So then that caused a problem after 50 years. Well, 40 some years now. But that is the problem, ladies and gentlemen, right there. So people thought, oh, I buy a house, it goes up 200,000 in 2 years, I win. Yes, you can. But the reality of the situation is that's not what homes were designed for. But here we are. People cannot afford them. And now we have a problem. And we're going to talk about, because no credit check, no qualifying, no barriers to entry is always interesting, isn't it? EV place, another investor is here, real estate, stock market, and who knows whatever else, but he's on the right track, doing the right thing. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. And he brings a tagline this evening. Good evening. Happy Easter. Happy Easter to you. Thank you so much. Hopefully your day's going well, and good evening to you. Greatly appreciated for you to be in the house. All right. Let's see what else we got to talk about before we get into this, because again, this is very, very special because again, we have turmoil all over the world. Do you know that there are United States citizens, just like I said 5 years ago, United States citizens are boarding planes with a passport, and immigration comes on the plane and says, you got to get off, you're not leaving. Remember, 5 years ago, I told you guys, you might not be able to leave. Your passport might not be good. What did I say then? I said, at least you can always get to an ocean, especially the Eastern or the Pacific. Well, are you going to choose the ones that are 1,000 miles or less from the United States shore? Or are you going to try to walk through enemy territory, through the Mexican cartel and Central American territories, and try to get to the property or to the country that you can actually be a second home in because you own property? Do I have your attention? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Just as predicted, things are going as planned. Now, no credit check, no qualifying, no barriers to entry gets people's attention. Ultimately, you're always going to need some money to buy real estate. Now, there's countries around the world that has cheap real estate. When countries have cheap real estate, that's generally because they have cheap infrastructure, right? Or they're a developing nation, or they're a third world country. Generally, first world countries, real estate's not all that cheap. Wages are high. So it's a hand-in-hand type of thing. But then every now and then, all of these, what we would call developing nations, they have cities. They have locations in their country that is just like first world. You just have different language, different customs, different ways of life, and you have to adapt. So what should you do, ladies and gentlemen? We've talked about this for 5 years. I've been saying it. You need to have offshore real estate. There is just no way around it. Okay? It's that simple. Now, you know what we were talking about before, Dominican Republic. It made it nice and easy. I wish it was Puerto Rico, quite frankly. But it's not. That's a USA territory, but they treat them like they're not USA citizens. But the point is, this is what we're talking about. Do you want to get something in Thailand that's cheap? Do you want to get something in Mexico that's cheap, or Costa Rica, or Ecuador, or wherever you want to get something? Spain, Greece, Italy, Portugal, Brazil, Colombia. Where do you want to go, ladies and gentlemen? Where are you going to feel safe? All I can tell you is keep in mind, if you haven't really explored the Asian markets, if you're anywhere in America and you're trying to go to, let's say, the Philippines, right? It is not like a 7-hour trip. It's not a 10-hour trip. You're going to generally have a layover. And that's an all-day travel fest. Now, the same rules are going to apply when you're going to Thailand and all these other places, right? It's not just a 4-hour, 5-hour, 7-hour trip. So this is something that's across the oceans. And if you really needed to leave and get there, I highly suggest you think about it. Most of you will say, well, I have no problem. I'll just get my passport, leave to go there. Everything will be fine. Well, that could very well be true, but you never know what's going to happen. But the principles we have to put into play. Now, we have to think about a lot of things. When there's turmoil around the world, traditionally, those with money run to safe havens. They're not out here doing, I'm going to buy outside of the country kind of things. You're looking for some place that can be safe, keep your money safe from losing. So therefore, is there a spot for you somewhere that you're going to feel safe, ladies and gentlemen? And if there is, then I highly suggest you have time still to go find a place. If you want to do pre-construction, that's fine. But at the same time, I'm just saying at this point, pre-construction allows you to put down money, make monthly payments over the next 2, 3 years, 4 years on a monthly payment plan, then come up with a lump sum on the backside, like a 20, 40, 40 is the going plans in DR. Other places are 10% down, then pay us 30% for the next 2.5, 3 years, and then 60% is due on delivery. All that sounds real nice and good, but at the end, if you have any amounts left over, you're going to have to qualify at the bank. Now your credit will matter. That's why you have to make sure you get rid of all your debts, as much as you can get rid of. And in that way, your credit should be good. Worldwide, file your taxes, everything will be fine. Okay? So those are the first strategies that you're going to need in this new era of bad going down. Post-retirement travel, Mr. Worldwide has arrived. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. And he's done it all. He's done the offshore real estate investing, the onshore real estate investing, and stock market investing. So let's talk about his tagline. Again, welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night Live Stream. And he brings his tagline here. Hello, all. Let's do this. That's what we do. And since he has offshore real estate, he understands exactly what we're talking about. And I don't even think he's done. I think he's going to pull the trigger on some other offshore real estate venture down the line because he's very, very fortunate. He can. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's how it works. And if you can get more than one place offshore, that's even better. More than one country, even better. Because now you have additional revenue, streams of revenue while you're not there. You have possible short-term or even long-term. And you've purchased cheap real estate. That's right. Can you even believe you can get cheap real estate in Dubai at this point? I don't know why. I'm not a fan, really. But it's just shocking that you can buy these nice places for under 200,000 or less. And they're generally going to be condos. They're not going to be villas. But nonetheless, it's still the same. It's kind of shocking that you can be in the vicinity um, of a luxurious place planned, but it's in the desert still, as far as I'm concerned, right? But nonetheless, this is what we're talking about today, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, just let your friends know that talk. Let them know. This is what you need to do. It's very simple. This is not hard. Reduce your expenses. Make sure you have a 775 by 1 year, 8 months. How much simpler is that? Even if you do nothing, even if you don't have the stock market talk, even if you don't have real estate talk, at least that's the one and two things that you should be telling. So then this way, when something goes, well, when things continually go down, at least you'll have an offering, because that's what you're going to need. You want off ramps. You want options for you, your family, even friends. You want options because if the ship goes down again, I said this on Wednesday, if you woke up on Monday and all the accounts are cut off, your brokerage accounts, your bank accounts, your ATM cards don't work anymore. Now what? What would you do? Guess what happens too? Whoever you have loans that you're holding, whoever's your creditor, do you think that they're going to say, "Hey, I'm sorry that your accounts are all shut off and you don't know why, but we still need our money"? You see, this is also why I suggest offshore banking as well, because that also gives you an air of freedom. Because if something happens, then generally, if you're outside the country, there's somebody else, like USA. I'll use USA is not going to another country to get the money. They got to jump through some hoops if they even know you have it. But the point I'm trying to make is you want options for yourself. You don't know where anything's going to land right now. The rest of the world is damn near against the United States, which also means it's against the United States citizens, so to speak. Now, I don't mean against us like when we go somewhere and visit. Of course not, because we spend money. They're happy to see us. But what I mean is they're against our government and what our government does. So then that way they're reacting and that affects the citizens of our country. All right. So this is why you have to start thinking rational. You have to start really looking like, wait a minute, it doesn't appear that if nobody's coming to save you, what are you going to do? Well, that's why we have to talk about the real estate, ladies and gentlemen, offshore. Now, there's always lots of talk about pre-construction and offshore real estate investing. Yes, it's a gamble, somewhat. Yes, but again, you're going to have to take a little risk every now and then. All right? Always take a risk. You can't stand pat. Always thinking real estate and passive income. Still hoping prices will come down. Post-retirement travel. If we're talking about real estate, prices are coming down. They're going to come down. The reason why is it's pretty simple, because of the disarray that the United States is going all over and talking. Here's the thing that I don't really understand is, if you know, in any negotiations, you basically don't put it in the newspaper. You don't, go on social media and talk about before you actually negotiate with people. That is like negotiations 101, unless you want to try to be the bully. But see, you're not going to win that war. That's not how you negotiate. You should just zip it, and you should go talk, and you should write down on some papers and get some contractual agreements and work it that way. This grandstanding, people get their feelings hurt, and before you get to a meeting to have rational discussion, people already have a hard one against you. So they don't want to hear you. They're not listening. And all they're going to do is say, "No, you do it my way. F you." That's it. Or we don't even have nothing to talk about. We'll just bypass you and just talk to somebody else that is more friendly. So that's what's happening right now. So that should scare American citizens, is that we have bulls in China shops and we have government officials calling other nations names: weak, peasants, crazy, you're nothing without us. All this stuff, man. If that's a negotiation tactic, that's going to be a huge fail. All right. That's a huge fail. That means, to me, we are going to be in for one hell of a bumpy ride, let alone all the other things of disarray. So if we're going to be along for a bumpy ride, you have to prepare yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Hold on. I got to do something. I got to change this name. There we go. I want to start this off because I got to change the name of the live stream, because whenever I put the studio on AV Bucks, it just keeps the same name from the previous live stream or one of the previous live streams. So, offshore real estate investing, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're talking about today. And no, you know what? No qualifying real estate investing. You gotta like it. Gotta like it. I'm gonna put this in real quick, so forgive me. There we go. No qualified real estate investing. All right. So we have that all in there. Here we go. Yeah, EV Place. Don't do that. EV Place. Let me explain. So how the DR operates, they're doing this thing that's disingenuous. So here's how it works. 3 years ago, there was only X amount of cruise citizens coming into the Dominican Republic at their ports. Let's just say, I'll give you a number. I don't know the number though, but I'll just give you an example. Let's just say it was 550,000 300 years ago. Okay, so then they added Pedernales, and they added what other? They added 2 cruise ports over the last 3 years, right? They made a push to increase cruise ships coming to the Dominican Republic starting 2 years ago. So now this season, right now, this year and in 2024, because more ships were coming to the island every month, that meant more cruise passengers. So instead of only 500,000 cruise passengers like 2-3 years ago, now they're up to over 1 million. Like last year, they got over 1 million cruise passengers, right? So now this year, they're going to have more cruise passengers. So when you say new visitor record, they're talking about the actual including cruise. So they did not say in the article, notice conveniently they leave out air passenger numbers. They don't say what the air passenger number is. They just say it was 0.6% less than previous time based on the 3 months. I'm like, okay, so what's the number? We know last month it was 588%, down 21%. What's the actual airline number? They did not disclose it. So therefore, we don't know what it is. So yes, they're using 2.3 for the first 3 quarters because that includes cruise ships. Cruise ships have now, they're off the charts because you have more than 10 ships a month coming to the DR. There's probably 20. So of course the cruise is going to jump up. So at the end of the year, even though we may be on track to just do 8.6 million in air passengers, they're going to do 3 million or 4 million in cruises and then say we have a record tourism number of 12 million. When in fact, that's not what we're caring about. We're not caring about cruise ships landing and leaving. We're caring about people staying on the island and spending their money. If you are on any tourism, it doesn't matter where you're at, around the world, you like the cruise ship stopping, but that's not going to keep your island nation afloat. Let's just put it that way. That's not going to help your economy in that country. That's why when they stop in Cuba, in frickin' Jamaica, Bahamas, all these islands, right? St. Martin and, Antigua and all these places. Do you guys see anything happening there? Like a real great real improvement? Hell no. Because people are just coming to the cruise port, stand on the island 5 to 7 hours, get back on the ship, and bye-bye. So again, story night, St. Martin. I'm sitting there, and I'm downtown, and I mean, I'm at the beach down. Well, is that downtown? There's like two downtowns in St. Martin, really, to me. But I'll call it downtown because there's a casino there. There's a row of shops, and so I come this day pulling up. Didn't because when I go to an island, I'm not on cruise ships because that's not my thing. I'd rather stay on the island and have fun, find out more. So I'm staying on the island. I come around and they go, yeah, shopping's over here. So I come over, come down into this town area. At least I think it is, but I see a casino. I'm like, oh, all right, this is cool. So then I see shops lined up on each side of the street, and I could easily see at one point straight ahead by the casino, I could see the ocean. So I don't think nothing of it. I'm just like, all right, let me see what kind of things they have in the shops. Well, come to find out, the shops are like tourist shops. I'm finding out like there's a Rolex store, there's like a LVMH Coach shop, and I'm like, I'm in St. Who's buying this stuff? At least that's what I'm thinking. And I just so happened to get there around 3 p.m. or something like that. So I start with the first few stores, and there's a few people in there, but I'm looking at prices, I'm looking at tags, and I'm looking like, who's buying this stuff? Then finally, somebody says, hey, we got to get back to the ship. And I'm like, what? I didn't realize the cruise ships was out there. And I was like, what the frick? So now, after the guy says that, so I go to another one or two shops. All of a sudden, the next few shops, I see the owners come out and start closing up their shops. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? The guy tells me, hey, man, the cruise ships are leaving. We close up our shops because nobody's going to be here once they leave. So that's why they're starting to close up their shops. And I was like, you got to be kidding me right now. So this isn't just like an area that people shop. They're like, no, this is just here for the cruise passengers. I was like, man, I was beginning to wonder, these prices are crazy. I was like, he goes, exactly. He goes, but this is what we do. There's no reason to stay open because nobody on the island is coming over here to shop. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. He's like, nope, that's what we do. Every time we know when the cruise ships come in, if there's cruise ships leave and there's nobody coming and they know when they have to go back, we're just going to close up shop. I said, oh, man, this makes sense. And that's when I realized because I rent on St. Martin. So at that particular time, I was like, what the heck? I said, okay, now I see what's happening around here. So that's why you have seasonal type of uh, uh, tourism, because if you're not on a ship, then it doesn't matter. Tourism right now, during the nice weather, January, February, March, nice weather, right? So that makes more sense. You're going to have more people coming. All right, here we go. He says over 2.3 million by air. Okay. Yeah, points. They said it's 0.6% less than previous year. All right. So the first month, I think there was a record in January. Second month, I think it was, we know second month was 588,000. The only problem is I didn't do the numbers, so we're talking, it has to be, what was it, 700 something? 7 and 5 is 1.3. Yeah, so I'm guessing I'm supposed to believe 1 million people came by air in the month of March, which, let me put it to you another way. I don't recall a previous year where there was 1 million by air in any given month. I don't remember that. So why would they not tout that? 588 in February, 750 in, I think it was around 750 in January. So 750, and let's call it 600, 1.35 Yeah, it's either 900, 950 to 1 million by air. I don't I don't recall. I don't think there's a month that's ever been 1 million. So I want to see the real numbers. I don't want to hear 2.3. And they said it was zero point 0.6 below. So last year's records, I'm assuming, because last year was a record. So it's zero point 0.6 below, meaning last year it was 2.4, I'm guessing, or 2.5, because zero point 0.6 is, you're almost level with the previous year. So anyhow, the point I'm trying to make about this number with real estate is, if we're going to stay on track with 2024 numbers, then that means there's only going to be 8.5, 8.6 tourists coming. Best case scenario. If we're tracking that way, that also means, because at the end of this year, instead of 5,800, okay, this is, I have to keep it straight. 5,800 Airbnbs are out right now. At the end of this year, there's going to be delivery of thousands of units. This is in La Altagracia by itself. At the end of this year, 1 million crews, exactly. See, this is where it's going to, the cruise ships, I believe every quarter is going to be 1 million. So it's going to be 4 million. And I think they're still going to get they're not going to get the 9.5 by air that we're going to need. So we're going to get around 8 million, 8.5 million again by air, but we're going to get 4 million by cruise. So they're going to claim it's a record, and it'll be 12 million tourists. So that's where we're going with this. But that's deceiving, because if I'm an investor, La Altagracia has 5,800 Airbnb, short-term rentals right now, right? Just in that province of Punta Cana, Cap Cana, that's La Altagracia, Bavaro, all that, Verone. So after this year, they're going to add 1,000 or more units. There's going to be over almost 7,000 units in Punta Cana area. That's going to be for rent, but you're not increasing the tourism number. So that's not a good sign, right? You're a real estate investor. You are an investor first. You have to deal with the real situation. You can't manufacture something in your brain and go, okay, it's okay to have the same tourist numbers and then we increase by 1,000 units. That's not okay. That's very bad. And what's even worse is this is across the board on the whole island, that means. So everybody keeps the same numbers, but yet you're adding the actual number. That's the problem. On the whole island, I'm talking about 1,000 just in La Altagracia, but how many units are going to be added in Santo Domingo, Puerto Plata, Cabarete, Santiago, La Romana, right? So therein lies the whole thing. Okay, I bet the 2.3 million doesn't count the internal tourism, which is pretty high between now and summer. You won't find an empty resort this week. Almost everyone Santo Domingo rolled to Punta Cana. You're exactly right. This was found out 2 years ago, which I could not believe. You're right, but it's the hotels. See, this is where the problem comes in. It's the hotels that are going to be booked up at 97 to 100%. The Airbnbs will not be hooked up or booked up 90 something percent. That's not how it works. So that is the problem. And again, if you guys are paying very close attention, I am a little worried, because along with what EV Place was saying, that means also look at what the numbers were for the hotels. Hotel occupancy was 81, 84, something like this. It wasn't in the 90s in the month of March. It wasn't in the 90s. That is not a good sign. That means there's a withdrawal if we really knew what the numbers were to start with. All I know is I was told all the time 93% occupancy with hotels. I'm like, okay, now I'm finding out that it's not that. It's 83% for the year. So they were talking about like during probably January, February, March or something. or summer or something. I don't know what that number was, but there was a number of 93% at one time. Those numbers we're not nowhere near 90% for hotel occupancy in the Dominican Republic. That is also a bad sign. If you are trying to do short-term rentals or catering towards tourists, if you're not catering toward tourists, then you need to hope that the islands or whichever country you're invested in, you need to hope that the people there have an increase of wages, because otherwise you're not going to be able to rent your place at a decent number that you're going to need. If you're only going to earn 2%, 3%, 5%, 8%, then why are you, there's no reason to even take the risk. If that's all you care about, then don't even take the risk, because you're risking way more. All right. So that's the actual numbers. So yeah, in the Punta Cana area, post-retirement travel is exactly right. Just so everybody understands, they're going to be damn near booked 98 to 100+%. Why do I say 100 plus? Because they can book up 100 and then they're going to ship. They're going to be overbooked. And then they're going to tell people, hey, you can stay at our sister property or our partner's property. Would that be okay? They'll make deals. That's what hotels do during prime times. So there's 2 weeks. So this month, we're going to find out a lot when the numbers come out for April, because what I anticipate, just so everybody can check it out, what's today? Today is April 18th. See if I'm going to be right. In the month of May, when we get the numbers for April, I'll be willing to bet you there's going to be this thing that's going to say we had a record number of hotel occupancy, right? And whatever that number is going to be. Then I'll be willing to bet you the numbers from last year for the whole month, I'll be willing to bet you it's not going to be that much more, if at all. I'm not even thinking the air passengers are going to jump up 20% or 30% for the whole month. I know air jumps up during these 2 weeks. Why? It's very simple. We have people who are Dominican coming to the island to visit family, so that adds into the air passenger situation. And then you have tourists as well. So that's why you have so many people coming for these 2 weeks. But what happens the other 2 weeks? Are we going to have a 20% drop off? Right? That's the $1 million question. So we're going to find all this out. But I think, I don't think there's going to be any significant improvement over last March, quite frankly. So we're going to find out, though, but I'd be shocked. And here's the numbers. Definitely numbers stop growing. I will call it consolidation. EV place, unfortunately, consolidation doesn't work in this case. The reason why this doesn't work is because if you have the same number, again, if I have 8.7 million air passengers come into the island, and then we add 5,000 short-term rental units on the island, then there's no consolidation. It's basically, there's a problem, because now you've added more units, but you have no more tourists to rent from you. And I will point something else out, because if America does go, well, we keep having this little gyration with our economy and fights around the world, that little chaos stops people from travel. So that's another thing that we can't figure out what is going to happen. But I do know this. I don't think they're going to reach their 8.6 million. I know they're not going to reach 9.5. I can tell you that right now. 9.5 is out of reach. 9 million appearing to me is going to be out of reach for this year. That is a travesty. And that means we're going to have 5,000 units of short-term rentals added on the island, and it's going to service the same amount of people as before, which now means you have a glut. If you have a glut, what happens when you have more supply than you have demand? Everybody knows this. This is economics. You know that means you have to reduce your prices. This is why if you're going to invest in something and somebody goes, oh, just buy our condo hotel unit, now you have to start going, what do you mean right now? Because now you are putting yourself in the condo hotel concept. They get to charge you 50 to 55% because they're take care of your property, and you might be in a rental pool, and you might have a loan, and you might be earning 1% or 0% or have a negative effect because you have a mortgage, because you're not going to make the money to pay it off. That's why it's very dangerous to be buying condo hotels in the Dominican Republic. In fact, dangerous to be buying them anywhere outside of, well, anywhere, in my opinion. I don't even want to recommend those. So when somebody says that they're selling you these real estate projects, the one thing I would recommend putting in a contract is, if this changes into a condo hotel, I get 100% of my money back. That's what I would put in my contract. I have the option of getting 100% of whatever I put into this, whatever my down payment and the amount that I paid in monthly, my full amount that I've been paying for this property, I want back. Because this thing about getting people to think they own condos or villas or townhomes, and then later on going, well, I'm sorry, you can't rent to anybody. You got to go through us, and we're the only ones that's going to do this. So in essence, you're a condo hotel. So that's what I would do in my contracts around the world, because they're not telling people that ultimately 3 years from now, you get this letter saying, hey, you're a condo hotel now. And Hilton's doing it, like in the case of the beach property. Hilton's going to be doing this, and all you Palmyra people, you are now in their condo hotel. People are like, what? We didn't buy a condo hotel. Yeah, well, you have a condo hotel now. So you don't want to put yourself in that position, because that is another real estate investment scenario. Okay, let's see what's happening here. I see something. The dollar went down. Dollar to peso dropped to 59, so they're doing a little better. That's not why. EV place, the dollar actually went down. So that's the reason why. The dollar goes up, then it's going to be back to 61, 62, 63, whatever it is. So if it went down to 59, great. That's what it was before, but the dollar value went down. So there's nobody winning on these numbers. Nobody wins. 59 pesos to one USD. Okay, great. That doesn't change anything. I'm still going to pay 950 pesos on the island and the equivalent in dollars. Does not matter. That's not going to help anybody. That doesn't change anything. Doesn't change anything at all. Exactly. And that's exactly what happens right here. Post-retirement travel has said it. Good for them, bad for us gringos. That's exactly right. Exactly. We're still going to be paying, ladies and gentlemen. That's exactly right. Right. And that's only temporary, because the US dollar will get back on track once they figure out how to get the oil prices to go back up. That's what's needed. I mean, there's levers that you can pull, and that's going to be one of them. EV place. Avalon has this statement in contract, can be short-term, long-term, etc. But I'm agree, it's important. Yes, exactly. So see, even Avalon has that, right? Can be short-term, long-term, etc. That's correct. But here's what's happening on the other side because of regulations. This is the thing about these developing nations. They're going to turn out and say, oh yeah, you can do short-term, but you're going to have to go through our management company. And we're charging whatever, 25, 30%. And if you want to be managed by us, then you have to buy our furniture package. That's how they do people, right? So now you're buying the furniture package, you're doing all this, and then the people who said, well, I don't really want that, I'll do it myself. They say, oh, no, you can't do it yourself. You got to do it through our management company. And then you're shut down, because now at that point, if you're not in the short-term rental, then you can't rent it. You have no revenues unless you say, well, I'll do monthly. Well, if you're in a developing nation, monthly may be 500 a month, 700 a month, and you need to be making 1,000 or 800. That's all my point is about it. But I'm glad to hear somebody's doing it, but I still would have in writing, I don't want to hear condo. I don't want to hear nothing. I just want any contracts that I'm going to do. from now on, if I'm on any of these islands, anywhere, doing any business, I'm going to be sitting there saying, hey, man, you're going to have to put, I'm not signing this. I'm not signing this. EV Place. I'm just going to caution you. I don't expect Blue. If we're talking about Avalon, I don't know Avalon that well. I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm just going to caution you. Yeah, Airbnb friendly was in all type of literature 5 years, 6 years, 7 years ago. People said Airbnb friendly. We're going to be Airbnb allowed. It's all on their brochures, all in their advertising. And then when things are delivered, all of a sudden it's, oh no, you can only go through us for management. You're like, what? What do you mean? I thought this was Airbnb friendly. That's a lot of projects that went from Airbnb friendly to we're managing it. Otherwise, you can't do short-term rentals. You got to go through our management company. So that's why I have a problem when the Wave Garden first came out, or I think it was Wave Garden comes out. Now people go, oh yeah, I knew it was a condo hotel the whole time. I'm like, really? I said, I'm actually one of the first people that made a video about it. I have the brochure. Where in there does it say it was a condo hotel? It doesn't say it anywhere. Now you're saying it's a condo hotel. I'm like, okay. I said, so this is crazy. Larimar, for instance, in their contract. Oh, well, yeah, Airbnb friendly in their brochures 3 years ago, 2 years and 2.5 years ago, right? Now, all of a sudden, oh, you got to go through our management company. Wait, what? I thought it was Airbnb friendly. I thought you said that we're going to be able to get our own management company that's approved by you so we can do whatever we want. Oh, but no, not now. Now, all of a sudden, you got to go through them. All these things that changed. What's that other one that's in Bavaro? Oh, I can't remember the name of it. But there's another one that's in Bavaro that's pretty cool. I mean, in El Cordacito. That's pretty cool. And it's one of those gardens as well. I want to say Secret Garden, but I don't think that's the name of it. But nonetheless, it's this is what I'm talking about. So they've said all this stuff before, and then things are popping up after the fact that we're now something different. So I'd be very, very cautious on any of that. So I'm going to be doing several things. So you got to get your offshore together, ladies and gentlemen. That's for sure. But there are so many little things that happen that you have to have a formulation in your mind, checklist. Hey, I don't want this to be a condo hotel. I need something to protect myself on, and I need an out. If you do change your mind, I want 100. Now, of course, later on you say, hey man, I gave you $100,000. I want my money back. Now, here's where the problem comes in. How do you get that money back? You know you're gonna have to sue them, right? But at least you have it in there. So just saying. All right. So just keep that in mind. All right, here we go. If you get to keep one of the DR apartments, were you paying cash or were you thinking about a loan? Well, I was thinking about a loan because I don't like cash. And I don't know what the loan numbers are going to be. Right now, I'm hearing loan numbers of 9% for USD, which is okay. But, you know, if you only owe 50 grand, that's 450 a month. And if you have a unit that should make $1,500, $2,000 per month, then that wouldn't even be a problem, right? But in light of the newest situation, and in light of the situation, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what you can do. But again, it all depends. See, it's hard to say what I'm going to do now because we don't know what the numbers are going to be. If I'll put it this way, if I don't like paying cash for anything, only from the standpoint of if you can make your cash work and get you 10%, 12%, 13%, then I'd rather have the cash to pay for the other unit and have a few points above. So if you can get double digits, I'll use 11% and your mortgage is 9, I'd rather keep the cash. and keep the 2% difference and fund it and pay for it that way. I don't want to do it the other way, quite frankly. Always keep the cash in this case. Loans, let the other people take the risk. And the way I look at it is the percentage, the interest you pay means the other person is taking the risk. That's the way I look at it. Here we go. Post-retirement travel cash saving in my case, exactly, EV Place. I agree. That's what I say as well. Changing the zoning of your project in the middle of the road from the Airbnb to company management is not appropriate. Things like that here in Florida will get you in jail. Exactly. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, in America and in most jurisdictions in America, things like that means we're going to have situations. But in developing nations, because of the way their justice system is, you're going to be waiting and paying attorneys. And 3 years later, no results. But 10 to 20 G's could be out of your pocket trying to fight it. So that's why they can do it. And again, these are the type of things that when you start looking at real estate investing, you might also want to reconsider and think about the justice, the jury, and the justice and the laws and things like that as well. So that also has upped the level of investing outside of the United States, for instance. Most people are watching from the US. We get our few 1, 2, 5 viewers from outside of the United States. I appreciate you guys and thank you. Make sure you guys smash that like button to let the YouTube guys know that you're from outside the United States. And for you, those of you inside, make sure you smash it as well and subscribe to the channel, please. All right, let's get back into it. But that's exactly it. Yeah, that's what's been happening. Things have changed and you just never know. It's crazy. Now, I have to admit the DR started stepping it up because there's a lot of people that are in legal jeopardy right now, possibly going to jail for several projects. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. I'm glad they're actually finally doing something about it because that's one of the areas they need to. And then number two, you guys already know the infrastructure. That's the infrastructure. All right. At EV Plays, good for you. Eric, another option is taking the money from an equity loan here. I like using the bank money too, but the interest rate there is nuts. So, agreed. Agreed. So that's exactly it. Either way, I'd rather do loans, like you said. If you can take it from here and get a 7 or 6%, it makes much more sense than getting a 9. That's much more manageable. But the good news is most people don't have a one. See, the thing though is it goes by the amount. If you have like $150,000 and you're going to be paying 9% now, it's either 150,000 cash or 150,000 with a 9.5. Now, again, I'm always leaning towards what can I get? 11? Can I get 2 points? Can I get 11% to pay for this thing? But then we have principal to pay for, right? So now it causes a problem because it's a large amount. Whereas if it's only 50,000 and you have a 9% loan and it's $450, and now you can do short-term rentals and always clear that for the month, you can clear 700 a month, then to me, I would just get the loan, even though it's higher, you don't have to pay it, in essence. And the cash that you didn't put down, you would have in a 10% or higher rate of return anyhow. So you win-win is the way I look at it. But when you start getting out there 100,000 and up and owing them $1,200, $1,500, that starts getting crazy. Because now you're putting yourself in jeopardy because you don't know what the rental rates are going to be month to month. And that's kind of scary. But long as it's something under 100,000, it makes it much more manageable. And that's why early investors, in most instances, if you invested 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 4 years ago, you're probably still going to win because the amount you're going to owe on if you got a mortgage is going to be small because you didn't have to pay these crazy prices now. Like a 2-bedroom at 230 grand is average now for just regular old unit, not special, just regular old stuff. So we'll see. Eric, if we are taking 3-year projects with 40 to 40% prepaid, the other 50% can work for you plus growth of value of property if it will be delivered on time. There you go, EV Place. That's it exactly. If you hit the last 5 words, 6 words, if it will be delivered. See, that's where the whole problem comes in. So now, if it's not delivered on time, now you're losing that cost, opportunity loss, right? So therein lies where the problem is. So when somebody says it's no big deal, I take offense. I'm like, what do you mean it's no big deal? If these guys have my money, they have 40% of my money for 4, 5, 6 years. I have no interest earned from that. So then somebody turns around to me, and the developers, they do this, or real estate agent, they'll say, oh, hey man, you got equity. I'm like, F equity, that's thin air. In order for me to capture that equity, I have to sell the property. So that makes no sense to me. I'm like, I don't care about equity. That's the only time I care about equity is when I'm selling something. When I have $100,000 into something, and then you're gonna hold off on delivering me my stuff for 5, 6 years. I'm like, I could have been making 10% annually on that. Hard. Not even giving me this equity talk, I would have had 110,000. Then the next year I would have had 121,000. Then the next year I would have had 135. So while you're sitting there talking all this garbage, I actually have cashola in real time money, not a depreciating money. I got today's money. So that's the difference, right? That's how I look at it. So I don't look at equity on anything. No, even if I live in a house, I don't look at equity. I look at that as like, okay, whatever. Because the only way you're tapping it is if you do something stupid, like get a loan. That's it. There, it's not stupid to get a loan, but what I'm trying to say is you don't want to really get a loan for something that you don't have to, because you have to pay interest on it. So that's the whole point. You need passive income to pay the interest. So you don't want to be caught up with an IOU and can't pay it. Next month, I will find out. All right, man, we'll keep us posted. Hopefully you'll be around because I want to hear how this goes with your Blue Marlin, man. Because I want to see this. You said you had an ocean view from that. So that's going to be very, very interesting as well. And I don't know if it was furnished or not. I think you said it was furnished. So let us know how it goes. And they don't like it if you're trying to sell flip during construction. Oh, man, EV Place, yeah. A lot of places don't allow you to do that. That's the other thing. And I don't see why not, because you're not even transferring title yet. You can always just transfer it to the other person. It's not a big deal. Just change the contract. What's the big deal? Yeah, a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to do it. I don't understand it, but you're right. Brian P., Mr. Dividends in the house tonight. Welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday night live stream. Another investor is here, ladies and gentlemen. Notice I said Mr. Dividend is in the house. He brings his tagline, Happy Day, Eric. I hope all is well with you. Yes, it's going well, man. Hopefully it's going well with you and your family. Happy day, SSN family. Smash that like button. I like to hear that. Give it a 1 piece. Give it a 2, 3 piece. That's all you need. Down goes. Down goes. That's it. We are making money in here. That's the only way you got to do it, ladies and gentlemen. You have to be on that money chase right now. You can't be messing around with liability chase. You got to cut all the liabilities that you can, all of them. You can't mess around for the next 1 year and 8 months. Just you'll do yourself a huge favor. Partly finished. I'm waiting for a project estimate from that Chinese design company. You talking about Opine? You went down to Opine? Opine, I don't even know how to announce it. You guys went down there. That's awesome, man. That's real awesome. If that's who you went through, because that's cool stuff right there. I love it. I love it. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. So back to the offshore real estate investing. Let's get down to it. You're going to need credit. All right. That's the first stop. So I'm going to keep marching down this path for the next 3 weeks until 3 weeks, I'll be back into some Wi-Fi. Right. So we'll be good. I'll be in, probably in Vegas, and I'll be, I want to go to, Poker Go Studios. That's where I want to go. I'm gonna go see, and it might almost be World Series of Poker time or something. WPT. Maybe I'll go down there and go see some of the old poker guys play a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. Um, Thinking about it, because I don't really care. Some people will say, well, I haven't played in a long time, but see, that's the thing. The good news about poker is you just got to sit there for a minute, 30, 45 minutes, an hour, and just check out the table, play a few hands, but not really get into anything involved. Then you understand, because once you play, your skill set generally shows back up. Down below in the description box, make sure that you download Smart Credit. That's a smart credit monitoring system. They have a special for you. Use the promo code that I have. Sign up now. That helps you out across major indexes, all three credit bureaus, your hiring index, your insurance score, all of that, plus up to $1 million of online scammers getting you. All right. Identity theft. Everybody in your house, including you, for the one cost, the one fee. So keep that in mind. Yes, Opine. That's it. Right on. All right, let them know you're from SSN Nation, man. Don't let them don't be shy out there. Speaking of investments, here we go. Have you noticed NVDY at 1420 and payday this Friday? I don't know. I didn't get anything. I don't remember getting anything today. But then again, I was watching a movie, so I was sitting back chilling, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I'm sorry I was a little bit late. In fact, that's because I looked up and I was like, oh, God, it's 6 something. I was like, uh-oh, I'm late again. So I'm sorry for that as well, ladies and gentlemen. All right. 1420. I think I like that number. I think I like that number. I do. The DR banks also look at your credit score from here, right? Exactly. Some folks don't know that and then get surprised during loan application. That's exactly right. Thank you for mentioning that post-retirement travel, because there may be some people that don't know. So again, when you go outside of the country, don't think that they're going to do some unknown credit thing. A lot of countries they're in TransUnion. It might be a different name over there, but it's still TransUnion, Equifax. They're still tracking. They have Remember, America is a consumer nation. They have a lot of Americans around the world going to other countries to make payments and purchases and financing. They like your money. So remember, they're generally hooked up. All right. And you don't think that TransUnion and Experian and all these guys are not worldwide? That'd be like saying Visa and Amex is not worldwide. Come on now. Come on now, ladies and gentlemen. So you got to be prepared. So that is number one on your list. Get your credit in order, get your liabilities down. You want the maximum amount of debt to income ratio that you can have. All right. Just keep that in mind. On Friday, the 28th. Oh, yes. Next Friday. Yeah, but you know what we talk about. YMAG, YMAX, LF, LT, oh, is it LFGY, ULTY. All those are every Friday, man. IWMY, Friday. Yeah, man, and I can't even remember all the rest, but there's a bunch. And then icing on the cake when you have like NVDY that comes out every month, right? When you have things like PLTY, these are yield max ETF funds, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm mentioning. That's nice. When you have an ORC, when you have a PSEC, when you have all of this on a monthly, those last two, AGNCY, and the average of this is like 18% monthly from your returns. That is crazy. That is crazy. All right, here we go. NVDY, they pay April 25th next Friday. Okay, cool. I don't mind. NVDY does not pay every Friday, just once a month. YMAX paid 1% today. Oh, EV Place, he's out there doing the salsa dance as well. I love it. Everybody who has YMAX is doing the salsa dance. 1% in 1 week. I didn't even see it. I didn't even look. But again, hey, the wife had to go to a doctor's appointment. So that's why my day was a little off. That takes precedent, number one. All right. So getting some things done. So that's why I'm zoned out. I'm not checking nothing. And there's something coming up in Las Vegas this weekend. I don't know. Something's going on at the Sphere. And of course, I have a place that's near the Sphere. And at one time, can you imagine, like 10 years ago? No, longer than that, 15 years ago, out where the Sphere is, used to be like nothing, right? It was like these older towns because it's a block off Koval Lane. And so I bought into a timeshare, which ends up being Holiday Inn Vacation Club. And at the time, it was behind where the Ferris wheel is, and it's a block back, right? So at the time, that area wasn't nothing. So everybody was like, well, why do you own there? I said, well, don't you know what's happening down that way? And they're like, no. I said, okay. So anyhow, the Sphere wasn't in the plan. But now that the Sphere is less than like a 3-minute walk, whatever band is playing next weekend at the Sphere, people have been beating down my door hoping that something showed up. And that's what happened. 3 people today is trying to get places at the Sphere. There's nothing available. And guess what else happens? Get to charge them double the price, dynamic pricing. Something that they should be paying, like 1 bedroom should be like $299. They're paying not double, it's a third more. They're paying $399. But I could have charged $499. But hey, I'm not greedy. Then the 2 bedrooms, instead of like $550, I get to charge $699. Not bad, right? So, and that's still a deal, because if they have a place, they're going to have to pay $900. That's right. See, that's the advantage when things are booked up and people know how much the price is. I could actually charge somebody $799 if I wanted to, but I'm not. I try to give people a little love. I make a little money. We all win. All right, let's go. The 25th. All right. Post-retirement travel. Yes, 25th. My bad. It's all right. It's all right. I'm liking what's been happening. We want the stock market to do this. We love it. I can't even believe why Max gave out 1% in just in one week. Jesus, I'm gonna have to check this out. I thought the stock market was closer. I didn't even pay no attention. I didn't even think about it. Brian P. Hi, Eric. Check out your emails when you get time. Yes, man. We'll do that. Down below, if you haven't gotten your free stocks from Robinhood, Webull, Moo, the links are down below in the description box. If you have a set it and forget it mentality, check out Wealthfront. Go there and check that. I will, Brian P. You know I do. All right. Post-retirement travel, paying Monday, 21st of April, today's holiday. RIWMY, ULTY, YBIT, oh yes, I can't wait. SNOY, crash for the short, TSLY, YMAG, YMAX, OARK, OGOO, Google, XOME, XDTE, WTE, FEAT, FIYY, or is that VY? FIVY, TSMY. Oh my, I gotta look at TSMY. That's not a weekly, but good God. Let's see now. That's gonna be a good day on Monday, isn't it? You're damn right. And oh my God, look at that. I got like 5, 6, 7 things on that list. That's gonna be a nice salsa day. Plus during now and next week, it's gonna be April 25th. Then there's something coming up on April 27th, April 29th, something like that. In my situation, I think it's ORC, if I'm not mistaken, or PSEC. Anyhow, it's very, very nice. We're talking 20% returns on ORCs, over 22% right for dividends. If you buy at the price right now and they stay afloat and everything's lovely, Great stuff. IWMY, but I like MSTY. I wish that was weekly, but it's not. I'm glad it's monthly because that's a nice one. Whenever that comes out, I don't know, but there's a few. Thank you for posting this post-retirement travel. This is great to hear. All right, everybody's going to be doing the salsa dance on April 21st on the Monday, Money Making Monday. Make sure you guys show up at 8:50 p.m. Oh my, FEAT. I'm not even familiar with these. FIVY. I am not familiar. That's pretty cool. That's real cool, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I like what I'm seeing here. Hold on. Real estate today, but of course we have to talk stocks as well because we got to be recession proof. You have to create wealth. So you're going to have to go with the traditional wealth test, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't see the post on Instagram I made today, just check that out. Or Pinterest, or on a lot of places. All right? We're in a lot of places. Telegram, we're in a lot of places, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Check that out. Wealth test today. I like this FEAT. I'm not familiar. FIVY, not familiar, but it's okay. It's probably mentioned. You can't keep, hey, we can't keep all of them. Let's go look at FEAT. I don't know what that is. Yield Max Dorsey Wright featured 5 income. Wow. At the end of the day, yesterday, huge shot up. It went up 1.75% worth-wise. I don't know. It's a dividend yield. That's incredible. Nice. 1.65 on a $33 stock. What is that? Is that 3? That cannot be right. 1.65 divided by 33. That's 5%. Can't be right. Oh, I know what it is. Hold on a second. I just, hold on. 1.65. That's the dividend divided by, I must be doing something wrong. This can't be right. This cannot be right. It is 4.9%. That's in 1 month? What the heck? That's pretty good. That's all I can say, ladies and gentlemen. That's one hell of a return. 5% a month is one hell of a return. Got to give them credit. If you can keep that up 60% and maybe lose 10 to 20% on your stock price, that may be okay. Yeah, distribution rate 64.78% at today's price. Wow. Wow. They keep adding so many. I mean, these guys got way too many ETFs. I saw this Dorsey Wright. I don't know what they're doing though. That's interesting. I like it. And the NAV is down 20%. Is that what it is? Anyhow, it looks like it just started January of this year. $2, $1.69, and $1.64. And the NAV is 32. Well, 33 right now. So it's dropped 20%. So these are the things when you go with the high risk, high rewards, but I still don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. FEAT. What are they doing? Come on. They usually say. They don't say. I know they're doing option income, but for what? Does anybody know? Because I don't know what the Dorsey 5 is. Dorsey Wright featured 5. Tactical income. Okay. It's doing, it's used. Tesla Inc. is the underlying security of the Yilmax TSLY. Okay. So I don't know. Okay, so there must be something called a Dorsey Wright ETF or something. Maybe you guys know. Maybe you guys know. EV Play says 4% a month. I will take it. You better take it. We'll all take that, man. We'll all take that. 50% annually on a distribution. I'll take that. We'll all take it. Like I said, this is what we're talking about when this is what drives me crazy when people say about equity, we earn equity while we're going through all this. I'm like, no, I don't care about that. In real time, we're missing 4% a month. You can't get this back. This is in the coffers. You earned it. This isn't based on any outcome. If the real estate market goes down, your equity goes down. If it goes up, your equity goes up. But right here, this is actual monies that you didn't have to worry about at all. 4% a month, 50% a year, 48% a year. We like that. Thank you for letting us know, man. That's awesome. That is awesome. That is sweet and awesome. Okay, that's not covered. 5, 4. Oh, okay, I see. All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, 1 hour, 35 minutes. We're talking about offshore real estate investing. What are the advantages for you? Well, it just gives you diversity that EV Place was talking about before. You can invest in America, yes, but I suggest do both if you can. Invest in America, but also get something outside of America, different market and situations. Because this is exactly a perfect example here. Remember, because of the tariff situations, China is talking to, who are they talking to? Vietnam, Thailand. I can't remember. They're talking to other countries about doing business to offset the business to America. They're going, well, we'll talk with you. We'll talk with you. We'll just bypass America. This is what happens around the world. That's why there's resets on markets all the time. And since it's a global environment, you have to join the global environment. You have to take advantage of any upticks around the world. Great deals are always great deals. If I can buy a condo for $50,000, I don't really care where it is. If it's long as it has the tourist numbers or an attraction for tourists to come, I'll take it. If somebody says 100,000, I'll take it. If they say 130, I'll take it. 150, I'll take it, because as long as we have tourists coming, I know I can get my 0.1%. But if we pick a place that does not have tourists coming, and just because it's in a tropical zoned area, then you're making a huge mistake, because now you're going to sit there and be like, well, I'm not getting but 20% occupancy. And of course not, because that's not a hot spot. So you want to be in a hot spot area. You want to grow with it. Just like buying land outside of town. The same rules apply. You already went down. You saw the plans. They said, oh, we're going to do this in the next 10 years. And you saw in the next 10 years, they're expanding the highway out there, making an extra lane, putting a shopping mall down there in that area. You get it. You might have to wait 5 years, but your value is going to creep up every year. So that's what you would do with real estate, actual property. It's the same type of thing. So just keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, no matter where you're buying from. Outside the United States is what we're talking about. That's what I mean by offshore, not in the USA, because we have 99.9% of people watching this channel inside the USA, unless, since I'm demonetized, maybe the YouTube gods opened up other countries for us. But I can tell from the chat room, mostly everybody is not from other countries. So that's how we do this. All right. Now, I don't have much more to say this evening, other than hopefully you guys have a wonderful Easter, wonderful time with friends, family, whatever you want to do this weekend. Just be safe, all right? I'll see you guys on Monday, because Monday the markets are going to be open, and it's going to be one hell of a ride, either up, down, or in between. But that's another time to invest, all right? Just keep that in mind. I like FBY. Good price point of $14 and dividend of 55 cents. I like that. TSLY, the crazy too, because of the volatility. Exactly. Price 628, 65.98. Exactly. I recommend also investing in the underlying stock. Exactly. Exactly. I agree with you 110% on these. TSLY, I'm not going to get into. But yeah, the dividend and Yomax ETF account is excellent. When we're talking about, we're 65. This is what cracks me up. It's $8.28, right? For TSLY, and it's 65, almost 66 cents. That for 1 month, people would take for a year. That's what's funny about people. You go, oh, I'll take 6%. I'm just like, but here's the thing. It's going to be more than 6% for the year. It's going to be much more. So it could be 70% at this price point. So I agree. I agree. Thanks. Exactly. I like this. That's why you have to have your pen, pads, and paper. FBY, I like that too. I like that too. Again, if you start talking about $5 or $6 a year return for a $14 stock, I think everybody's going to take that. You're going to be close to 50%. Everybody would take that. And your net gain could be 30 if the NAV, the stock price goes down and it goes down to 10. Okay, but you at least won the other side. Tomorrow, Larry, another investor is in the house for the DR, that offshore real estate investing. Hopefully you heard back from Glenn. Let me know. Send me a WhatsApp, please. And welcome to the SSN Nation Financial Friday Night live stream. Talking about that offshore investing, something that you should be interested in and are interested in. Happy Easter is her tagline. Happy Easter to you. Happy Easter to you and your family. Hope everything's been going well. And once again, tonight's topic, offshore investing, real estate style. And also offshore real estate investing can lead to business. So that also means business investing offshore, open up bank accounts offshore, making sure your credit and your liabilities are reduced significantly over the next 1 year, 8 months. Okay. FEET is the fund of funds. It does option trading on the other Yield-Max ETFs like Bitcoin and NFLX. Unfortunately, it's expensive at 34. Yeah, that's too expensive. Quite frankly, the reason why I don't like it being that high is because of what they do. The price is volatile, and it already has done it. It's went from 42 or 41 down to 34. You've already down 20%. So that's a bit much. The stock price is 20, and yes, you're going to probably get 50. What was that? 60%. So it's a gain of, we don't know if it's going to be 20%, 30%, 35%, but there's other opportunities as far as, I mean, like YMAG has done great. So that's the Magnificent Seven, and they're always volatile. And this session's right now, that's great. Can it keep going? I think so. The next 2 years, 1 year, next 2 years is volatility. That's what I see. No way around it. So we'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be one awesome ride. Now, I think I'm going to play. Let me see. I think I have something that I uploaded. Oh, we have the old video. Unfortunately, I can't find the other ones. And I won't have them until I get back to the East Coast. But here goes a little something, an interlude for a second, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, come on. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, one of the only SSN Lifestyle videos that I have up that I can play, because I don't know where the rest of them went. It's sad. But like I say, hold on a second. I have some things I got to handle in the background. All right, post-retirement travel, EV place. Eric, what about PLTY 60 and they paying over $5 a month? Exactly. I like PLTY. Here's the thing. My PLTY is 50, 53, I think. My dollar cost average is way below 60, which makes it even more interesting. Yes, exactly. $60. So the appreciation from the stock and 50, 60, 70%. Not. Yeah, it might be. Actually, I don't even know what PLTY. I think it's up there. It's $5 per. That's 4%. Yeah, 50%. It is around 50. I'll take it. We'll still take it. $60 and you're going to get $60. I'll take it. I'm saying I'll take it. That's 100%. That's $60 annually. Yeah, we'll take it. $60 for $60 annually if they keep this up. Yes. Oh, and Pelletier is going to be one of those volatile stocks as well. So that's why that dividends, the option income trading is off the charts. And Pelletier actually went up the past last day or two, which is wild. So the stock went up and the dividends are off the charts. I have PLTY as well. That's in the arsenal. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you get a mix of 6, 7, 10, 12, 15, 18, 20, and then you have stuff that jumps off the charts 25, 45, 55, 70, 80 due to option income tradings. And now all of a sudden you built yourself into potentially something like 13, 14% on whatever money you have invested in there right now. Because if these prices go up, then you don't want to really invest more, right? So you kind of have a balance to do. Because if your stock price goes up, your yield goes down if it's the same yield number. But yield max ETFs and option incomes like Defiance and all those, because they're doing options income, you don't have a fixed dividend every month. It could go up, it could go down. So, yep, this is the one I love right here, MSTY. Yep, only 20 paying 1.3 exactly. Exactly, it's a monster. And that's because it's MicroStrategy based stock and they're doing the option income and that's Bitcoin. Well, it kind of trades with Bitcoin. Up and down, there's options to be made on that. Premium and fees to be made. So I like that. I like that. That's a YieldMax ETF fund as well, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I too enjoy MSTY. I also enjoy SMCY, but their stock price is dropping like a rock, but their yield because of it is remarkable. Dollar cost averaging down, I like. And also, that's a nice one as well, especially when you can get a dollar cost average down by $3, $4 a share. That's crazy, crazy, big drop offs. $1 to $2. That's why I say don't throw all your eggs in one basket at one time. If let's just use a simple number, $1,000 you have at your disposal that you want to put into the stock market. The stock market is doing this up and down. So why would you like, for instance, right now, PLTY just jumped this past week, and that's 60. Would you buy, let's just say something simple like 10, what is 10 shares to $600, right? 10 shares, and now you spent $600. It would be it's not going to be cool if all of a sudden, due to volatility, all of a sudden it drops back down to a 55, 53 number. And yeah, that's $70 difference, but now you're going to make it back on the dividend side. It's a nice little balance. So now you bought 10, great. So if it goes back down to 55, then you should be buying 5 to 10 more. Get your dollar cost average down. Yep. That too. CONY, you have to. You have to have Coinbase. You have to. You have to have CONY, MSTY. Those are must. YMAG. I think those are must. IWMY. I mean, there's a bunch. There's a bunch. And everybody's listed here. That's why you should have your pen, pads, and papers, ladies and gentlemen. Always have the pen, pads, and paper. All right. Hold on. I got to do something real quick. Offshore real estate. I got to put this in. All right. And I got to do this. Sustain. All right. So I'm doing things on the fly that I normally wouldn't be doing, but I'm doing them nonetheless. So yeah, I like all those. Very nice. All you guys are doing a great job because if you guys are actually paying attention, and those of you who are not paying attention, I suggest you go look through this chat, write these stock symbols down, and I suggest you go check them out because you're going to be sitting there going, or you're going to be sitting there going, is this for real right now? Because you're going to see things such as you could have been getting dividends at a 40 to 50% clip return. And that's something that your 401ks generally aren't going to be invested in these. Your pension funds, they're not going to be in these. So this is where it goes. You could actually do your own 401k. You can have your own investment brokerage account without a 401k, but you can create one if you have a business. So again, there's so many opportunities here that I feel, but don't throw all your eggs in one basket, because if you actually said, well, I have 1,000, I'm going to put it into PLTY last week, you would say, oh, everything's great because it was 55 or something thereabouts. So $5 per share. You're like, oh, this is great. And you get a nice dividend. You'd be like loving life. But for all those who might have paid higher at 70, you're still feeling like, man, it's at 60, right? But those people who bought at 70, they could have said, well, when it went down to 55, they should have bought more. But that's why you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You want to diversify. You want to make sure you have something left over in case something happens, because you're going to keep going. You just want to get at the right price. All right. And you can live with, I bought all these at this right price, and so I'll just stay there and get my 70% return. Why bring my dollar cost average back up? That makes no sense. To me, it makes no sense. So especially when there's volatility. If this was like a stable environment where the stock market just gradually is going up, then you don't have the luxury. You're going to have to keep getting it, right? You're just going to have to say, man, I got to get some more of this. So those are the type of things. Here we go. SMCY pays $1.50 and YETH pays 1.54. I normally use 20% of the income to buy the underlying stock. That way you aren't capped. I've been able to grow my portfolio pretty rapidly like that. That's exactly right. I like that. I like that little strategy right there. Take some of that dividend money and reinvest it. I like it. I like it, man. It's beautiful work, post-retirement travel. Thank you so much for mentioning that. This right here that he just mentioned is very powerful, quite frankly, because this is what a lot of people don't understand. So, for instance, NVDY, yield max stock, great. When NVIDIA went down a week ago, and it was under 90, that was a red signal saying, buy now, buy now. And I use red because there was blood in the streets. You should have bought now, and some NVDY, because look at what happened. It went up to 114. Now it's back to 101. But still, if your dollar cost average is around $90, you're still positive. And you have NVDY earning you some crazy amount for your dividends. So you have the best of both worlds. So I like that strategy. I love that strategy, in fact, and I employ some of that strategy as well, because I'm doing what you do. I have the underlying stock as well, especially when it's a Magnificent Seven. Listen to Eric, guys. Thank you. I made average 7% on my investment by joining a month ago and doing my homework. Thank you so much, EV Place. And it's with the help of everybody here, because it takes a village, man, that everybody gives their inputs, and that helps everybody else make investments. But thank you so much. In fact, I'm going to be making an announcement probably sometime at the end of next month, where I never track, right? I don't really track, but I said, you know what? I want to track what I'm doing right now, right? And so I'm tracking week to week. And so what I started noticing was, I was like, because I started this like 2 weeks ago. And I said, okay, the first week it was 2.5%. And so then I was like, wait a minute. That's for the overall. I was like, wait, hold on a second. And this is just dividends. It's not based on stock appreciation. I'm basing it on dividends only. So when I saw 2.5%, I was like, wait, that's 1 week. I would take that for 1 month. That would mean 30% annually. So then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to start tracking this. So the first time I tracked, it said 2.5. The last week, 3.5. So now I'm like, oh my God, I don't believe this. 6%? Are we kidding me? I'm getting excited. And the only reason it actually happens like this is because we've had these dips. So now I'm anxious to find out this week, what it ends up being. Because this week, I think it's going to be something like 4.5. It's going to be something crazy because I have monthlies drop in this week. Like we were saying, April 25th comes in as well. So we have something coming April 29th. I think it's PLTY if I'm not mistaken. But anyhow, or is it PFE, PSEC? I can't remember. There's several. But the point I'm trying to make is I started realizing that I might be into something like 2.5, 3.5 is 7, 4.5 is 11, maybe 12 with 3 weeks and 1 week to go. Because we still got the 28th, 29th and all that. And I think I got another 4. That is incredible. And then that's why I'm tracking 2 months in a row, because if I get that number twice and you can start talking about damn near 15, ladies and gentlemen, that is very powerful. Can that stay a thing? That would be crazy. But thank you so much, EV Plays, because it's just me and the help of all of you. We're all talking about it. You guys are the ones. Brian P., Post-Retirement Travel are the ones 2.5 years ago that said, hey, man, what about this UMax ETF? I'm like, hey. Then about 6 months later, came back again. They said, hey, man, what about Brian P. said, hey, man, I got 1,000 shares of this. I was like, hold on, wait a minute. And it said something like 75% or 80% return. I'm like, hold up, let's see. And then everything, the rest is history. People have been enjoying great returns. So thank you so much, EV Place. I'm happy with, hey, I'm glad you listened, absorbed, and didn't get offended with conversation, and actually took notes. And 7%, I like that, man. I like it. I like it. A month ago, 7%. I like that, man. PLT declaration 23rd, next Wednesday, along with NVDY. Yeah, see, again, next week is going to be very, very special. I'm going to do, I do every Friday. So anything that happened, like the payouts from Friday, so on April 21st, that's when I do my calculations. And then the next week, the 23rd, the NVDY, and whatever happens next Friday, that's what I include into the next Friday bucket. That's how I do it. Either way, it's going to come out the same numbers. But if I can get 15% in 1 month, that's major, ladies and gentlemen. That is major. And I should say something else. I am not using just the dividend stocks. I'm using the actual overall portfolio. So what do I mean by that? I'll give you a perfect example. NVIDIA, they don't give dividends. So whatever I have purchased in NVIDIA stock, I include that in the overall interest number that I'm earning. So I'm not just using the dividend stocks, because if I use just the dividend stocks, then that's going to skew how I look at investing. It skews it, because then it's going to go, okay, these dividend stocks did, let's just say 25%, but that's not really what my portfolio is doing, right? So that's why I include so if portfolio is 1,000, right? And you have the overall, all the stocks are 1,000. And then you got, let's just say $500 worth of dividends gives you $50. Okay, that's nice, because that's 10% of the dividend stocks. But in reality, your portfolio is 1,000. So I go by the dividends for the whole thing. So now it's 50 divided by 1,000. That's a different number. That's 20%, right? So this is what we're talking. So I use the whole thing, which makes it much more powerful, because then you get to sit back and be like, wait a minute, this is how much I put in on all the stocks, and I'm getting 15%, not including stock appreciation. That is a beautiful thing. So that's how I look at it. So I don't look at it the way of how much my stocks have increased totally. Like my dollar cost average for NVIDIA is like $90, I think, or something. So even though it's at 101, yes, that went up, but I don't count that. I count what I actually put in. So that's what I do. And I also look at what the actual, I just go by the number on that day. So the stock appreciated Whatever that number is in my account, I actually divide it, and I'm getting those numbers. So that means my returns are actually higher than what I'm going to tell you guys. And that's scary. And that's why it's very dangerous, because if I'm telling you 15%, my actual return is higher because I don't even count that I made $20 per share more for my NVIDIA. I don't even count that at all. I'm using that against me. I bought it 90, but I'm using the 101. If it ends up being 101 number next Friday, I'm using the 101, which is crazy, right? And so I get to go 15. So I actually know it's higher than 15 for the month. That's scary. And that's beautiful. Now you see why everybody who's here that's doing the damn thing gets a salsa dance. When the stock market did that increase and when the stock market dropped, we all doing the salsa. I was giddy. The wife couldn't believe it. She's like, "What's wrong with you?" I was just like pointing, like, "Look, can you believe this?" I was like, "This is unreal right now. Have to keep buying, have to keep buying." I said, she's like, but it might go down. There's a tariff. I said, and gonna get some more. But right now, got to get some right now. And she's like, so I was on the phone like 2 days in a row, like, come on, this is crazy. And she couldn't believe it. She's just like, I said, this is like once in a lifetime opportunities going on right now. So that's the deal with dollar cost average down. But thank you so much, EV Place. I'd like to hear this, man. Thank you. Any way we can help, because that's the thing, man. We don't do this course stuff. We don't say, if I do my course, come sign up for all this stuff, and then we're going to talk about it. No, I want you guys to win. And all you have to do is just pay attention. You may not agree with everything, but that's what your decision is supposed to be for. You're the CEO of your life. And so we're just trying to help. And I'm glad people are listening to the group, because this is like a rare situation where you have a lot of people from varying backgrounds that's done investments all across the board, all across the world, and have different backgrounds and different ways of thinking. It's incredible. So I'm glad to hear that, man. I'm glad. And guess what else is going to happen? I think you're going to do 7% again next for the whatever your countdown from the month you're counting. I think you'll get 7% or higher next month, quite frankly, because if you've already gotten 7% with any of your investments, the only thing that's happened right now is you had a dollar cost average down, and now they went back up, and now you had all this volatility for some of these stocks, and now there's going to be the nice little dividend payouts. So I think it's going to be pretty good myself. That's why I was getting excited too, because I was thinking like, man, this is everything we've been talking about. It's happening. Everybody has to just pull the trigger, and everything's going according to plan. I love it. All right, I'm going to wrap this up. We got a little bit of offshore investing. I wasn't able to really get into it like I wanted to, but I can't talk too much tonight. We'll get back into this on Monday. And you guys want to discuss anything, let me know right now before we end this live stream on this Friday night. Everybody get with your families and friends. Thank you all for just sharing. Thank you so much, man. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you, man. Thank you. The experience. Thanks, man. I'm glad you're here with your contributions as well, man. Thank you so much for being here, making us all better, because this is what we have to do. We talk it out. We think. We have some people watching right now that maybe didn't even know about any of this. They don't know that somebody can do 2.5, 3%, 4%, 7% in a month. They're thinking, oh my, it had to be high risk, high rewards type of stuff. Well, if you do this right and diversify across the board, you shouldn't just be in, I'll use simple stuff like, you shouldn't just be buying automobile stocks. You shouldn't just be buying oil stocks, right? You shouldn't just be buying Bitcoin. You should diversify. Works out for you. If you want dividend money, you should look for dividends. And don't go buy just stuff randomly on, Google. You just say, well, what gives the most dividends? No, don't think about that. Those numbers, sometimes it's temporary. Sometimes you don't know history. You want to do your research. That's what you want to do. All right. That's what you want to do. All right, here we go. I can't see. Why not? Okay, why can't I? Oh, there we go. Are you investing for monthly income, or do you just want to grow? I do both. My grow phase is done. I am now starting to withdraw a little every month. The portfolio is still growing because of the amount. Exactly. No, I'm doing both still, man, because I'm on a different paper chase. You guys, I'm not, I'm not, I think differently. What I'm trying to do now is I'll just tell you guys straight up. I've had so much fun in my life, right? I mean, stuff that's so off the charts that I forgot about. It's crazy stuff. And so at this point, I'm just going to do. I'm calling it retirement, right? I'm calling it. I'm done. What I'm going to do is I'm setting up a trust, right? And so I'm going to have the family trust, and I'm going to do what the Rockefellers do. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put this into a trust. So let's just say this is going to be like a 5-year journey, right? I've already started it, so it's fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the trust. I'm going to have the income coming in. And because I have the low prices, that means any dividends coming in goes into the trust is going to be significant because they'll probably increase them over time. The percentage rate of return is still going to be great. And so now I'm going to set it up so the family dynasty gets to do whatever they want to do because no matter who it is, you have properties, you have a trust, you have insurances, you're going to have things that you need that's going to be able to fund it. That's the key right there. If you're gone, how's it going to be funded? So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm planning on leaving something. So my daughters next year, they'll each have something from the trust and they'll always have some funds coming. That's what I'm working on. All right. So, what happened? You guys can't. What's that? What the heck? Lights just went out. What is that? What happened? Okay. All right, guys. It's a surprise. That's funny. All right. We're back. I don't know what happened. We just went out. But anyhow, that's what I plan on doing. So I still need growth and I still need dividends. Yep, lights out, man. That's what we're doing. Lights out. So no, I'm doing the growth still. Because the thing is, you have another lifetime. So I've had all my fun and games and everything, and right now I'm on a different mindset. I'm just going, okay, the kids, they're working their asses off right now, right? I'm not the trust fund dad stuff. They're working their asses off, but because I know certain things, I'm just going to put them because in the future it's going to cost way more. So I might as well just put everything to them. And if anything happened to me and my wife survives, then she'll have her, everything will be set for her. So that's what my paper chase is right now. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just making sure I'm solidifying so the future is like aligned. So they don't have to worry about much, even though they're still going to have to worry because, money's going to be whatever money's going to be. So I need growth and I need dividends. So that's why I'm investing in some growth stocks as well as dividend stocks. High yield, high yield, high yield, Magnificent Sevens, and Yomax ETFs, Defiance, even Russell 2000, option incomes. I'm doing all kind of stuff because I'm trying to get that. I literally, I'm trying to get. My objective is 7%, 2.5, 3.5. I'm trying to get 10% a month. I'm trying to get there. And the beauty of it is because of the thing is these real estate investment trusts, PSEC at 18%, ORC at 22%. And remember, my dollar cost averages are down below what those are. So my returns are actually maybe 1 percentage point more. But nonetheless, when you start adding 22%, 19%, 30%, because I got a little in IEP that I've been talking about for a while because the dollar cost average had to come down because their stock price has been decimated. So I just keep buying down. But the return is 30%, something like that on the dividend side. So all that matters because that return number, you need less money for a higher return. And as long as they give out their dividends, can you imagine getting like, if I can do this 40 or 50% annually, plus you holding the Magnificent Seven stocks and a few other things. So keep that in mind. That's what we're trying to do here. So now you have a growth situation, you have future, and you have dividends. So either way, and actually like NVIDIA does dividends, but it's only like 1%, but that's nothing major. But the fact is, you still get dividends. And so as long as these other companies stay in business and as long as everything rolls, like I said, that's why I started tracking, because what I think is happening is probably happening. What I'm thinking is I think I can do, because of this environment, I think I can do pretty close to 50% across the board. And if I can do that like 2 or 3 years in a row, imagine, ladies and gentlemen, this is crazy. And because everything will be growing. That's what I'm trying to do. Lights out is right. And so I'll give you, and so I'm doing basically what post-retirement travel's doing on his 20% thing. Instead of 20%, I'm doing like 100%. See, that's the thing. So he's taking some out and then putting it in something else. I'm putting 20% into something else, not taking anything out and dumping it back. So 100% of everything goes back. And then I say, okay, I'll throw in a little bit more whenever there's opportunity. So that's how we keep growing, because a dollar cost average comes down if a situation happens like what we're fortunate to have happen right now. So here we are. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you do it. So I'll let you know. Like right now, like I said, we're going to be at what we're at 2 point, what was it, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. Yeah, I think I'm going to be at 4.5 this week. We'll see. But right now we're at what was it, 2.5, 3.5. So we're at 6. Is that 6? Oh, that ain't bad. That's 6. That's 6 already. That's not bad. We could be at 10 after on Monday. I'll let you guys know on Monday. Make sure you let me know. Remind me. I'll let you know, because I'm going to calculate on Monday when the dividends come out, and I'll let you know how close we are. I mean, it could be 2.5 again. I don't know, but we're already at 10. We're going to be at 6 for sure. So let's see what happens. Even if it's 3, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Even if it's 2, because if somebody told me 10% of my gross, I'm doing 10% in dividends of the gross, that's cool. That's cool. That's all I'm saying. So I'm doing it. We're doing something right. So post-retirement travel's doing something right. EV Plays, Brian P., everybody, you guys are doing great. Because no matter how you slice it right now, you've got to be in both dividends, growth, and adding a little bit more. But adding a little bit more comes in the when you reinvest. There's more you're buying more shares without having to add money. But what I'm doing is I'm adding more money, so it would grow faster. That's what I'm doing. So I have a certain number that I'm doing. So I have about another, what is it, 40, 50, another 50%. I have duffel bag of cash for 50%. So that's why when I see stuff drop, I just go, okay, time to throw in about another 10%, 10%. That's what I'm doing. So then I'll stop, and then I'll reevaluate, as we should do. And then I'm going to sit there and go, okay. So then when I have upticks in short-term rentals, then I'm going to just do some crazy stuff. I'm just going to dump some, or figure out what I'm going to invest in, dump some more, keep it going. And then it's going to be some crazy number quickly, especially if I can do 50% or 60% a year. That'd be insane. But I think I can do it. I told the wife, I said, you know what? I said, I think I can do this. I said, I got everything right, I think. I have everything right, especially with the help of PSEC, ORC, and getting me near 20%, IEP, all that, right? All those together is over 20 some percent without being in the income option trading field. That's straight up dividends. I also did some wild, high risk, high reward, SVC. It's $1.92. High risk, high reward, $1.80, something like this. But let me see, the return is, let me go look it up right now, because it's pretty close. What is it? I think it's 15, I think, something like that. Let me go look. SVC, Wait, this says 2.19. What happened? That's not good. Better not be damn 2.19. Hold on. That does say 2.19. That's not good. That means they might have done a cut. That's not good. But anyhow, I had SVC, which now I have to sell some of it if it's 2.19. And it's at 183. So we'll have to reevaluate that. That means I'm going to have to start paying more attention. But anyhow, it doesn't really matter. I have ET, which is only 7%, but that's, you have to have that. And we know we have JEPQ. JEPQ's at, well, my dollar cost average is under 50. So if they give $6.25 this year like they did last year, then let me go look. 6.25 divided by 49.50, something like that. 12.6. So that's my trade-off. Those are my solids, right? I know I'm going to stay in that price range. I know we got 12% on that. So when you start doing all this 12, 15, 18, 22, 34, and if it is 2, that's interesting. ET is 7.6, and I have something else. I got a lot. Something else is like 7, 8, 9. Safe stuff. So we always know we have that. So when you start really doing it, the wild card is the UMAX ETFs. As long as they keep giving out 50, 60, 70, 80, 90% distributions with stock price relatively the same, that's what gets us to that crazy number. So that's how I'm doing, along with Defiance and the Russell 2000 ETFs, things like that. So anyhow, hopefully that gives you guys an idea of what I'm doing. Same as what you're doing. It's no difference. I'm not doing anything from what you guys that we talk about. It's the same thing. You have your little nuances. Everybody has their own strategy, but for me, it's different than maybe yours. I'm sitting there I'm just piling everything up because I don't have. First of all, the liability and expenses I don't have. See, that's what makes things different. So there's no house notes, right? Since there's only 2 of us in the house, we don't do anything but on the computer pretty much. And then, so all our bills are like minimal. We don't really have a family raising kids, and all that. So again, groceries are not freaking, I don't know how much they would be, but they're not 500 a week or anything, or 500 a month. I don't even think. So all the stuff that you work hard for and do, it just so happens that the liabilities are off the table. No car payments, so don't have to worry about that. So that, you get to pick your insurance companies. And since multiple cars and one car stays in Cali in the storage place, so when we come to Cali, we have a vehicle. So that car, we just do our insurance accordingly, right? So it gives you a lower insurance. So if things are set up properly, your expenses are lower. So then you have more money that you can dump in. So that's where I'm at. I'm just going to dump stuff in. So then the family's going to be like, my picture's going to be on the wall. This is what grandfather did. This is what your grandfather did. I'm just joking. I don't care about that. But I'm just saying, that's what it's like, right? Remember, you go to these old homes where they're grandiose homes and they have the picture of their grandfather, their great grandfather, their father, and their moguls. No, I'm not doing that. But all I'm saying is that's what it's like, right? I just want to make sure that, because I already know what's going to happen. It's going to get worse, and it's going to cost, the cost of living is going to be a lot more later. So if you're going to have to work just to make ends meet, then what happens? You're not going to have any help. So if you have an extra, even though in 20 years, $2,000 might be like $500 right now, but still, if somebody says, here's money that you didn't have to work for, here's a place to live that you didn't have to, that's free and clear, there's no loans, that helps out some people down the line. So that's what we're doing. So that's what I'm doing. So the next 5 years and my retirement, quote unquote, because we do Airbnb, right? Next 5 years, I'm just dumping and whatever happens. Another lifetime, if I get to live to be 80, another lifetime happens, then they're going to be happy. I'll be happy. Everybody's going to be happy. So we'll see what happens. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, Friday night, story night, but I'm not going to give any stories. I gave a little stories. Like I said, uh, Kim Luk Chun was making my clothes, and I find it hilarious. Like I started this off because back in the day, people were out there buying all this garbage stuff. They thought it was special. Uh, there you go. It's going to leave your kids millions. You know, no bank, no bank, no bank, no bank whatsoever. Brokerage accounts. I told mine they'll be lucky I leave them $100. Oh, you're doing the what's his face? The Oracle of Omaha, Buffett. He's like, I ain't leaving them nothing. Oh man. Hey, I don't really mind, man. My thing was, I was like, I'll just spend it all, right? I was gonna do that at first. But then after I've had so much fun my whole life, I was just like, well, there's pretty much I don't really want to do anything anymore. Other than there's one last trip I wanted to go to. I've never went to the pyramids. And so I did want to see the pyramids. I never have. Even though I always wanted to, I'm still not even like I gotta go. It's not even a thing anymore. But I've done so much stuff in my life that's why I'm just like, you know what? I'm like, I don't even want to spend it no more. All I want to do is just hang out, have the fireplace lit, have some wine or something, and chill out. That's all I want, right? Have a little fun, do the live streams, have a little fun, do some videos, have a little fun, and nice and quiet. That's pretty much it. And if we do go somewhere, fine. But my thing is, like I said, I've done so much stuff I forgot about damn near all of it. When I see my friends, they start saying, "Hey, remember when we did this?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I forgot," because it was like 30 years ago, or 25 years ago, or 20 years ago. I can't remember. So anyhow, I'll end it with this: we have NBA playoffs have started. Does anybody have anybody who they think is going to win the NBA championship? I don't have any guess right, but I will tell you what: I'm a California kid. I'm not really a fan of the Lakers, but good thing, so I'm not a fan of the Lakers, but I think they have a good shot. That trade with Luka, that was very powerful in today's NBA. You can get away with having serviceable big men, but you cannot get away with having bona fide superstar scorers who can change the game. And they have two. Even the old man, LeBron's still doing his thing, and Luka, they're pretty. That makes their team dangerous. OKC, I picked them to be where they're at. Not with you guys because I don't talk sports with you guys, but 4 years ago when they had their draft classes, the 4 year ago and 3 year ago draft class, I said, well, you're going to see them guys in 3 years. So last year they were real good. This year they're real good. So I expect them to do something in the playoffs this time because they're a year older. So they're very dangerous as well. So I haven't picked anybody to win, but those are my two dangerous teams. The East Side, Boston. Wait, what can you say? They got the skill set, but they don't have the right same. It's hard to do repeats and hard to keep winning. Um, so we'll see what happens. I don't like what's his name, Mitchell, that plays with the Cavs. They're number one seed in the East. Because when playoffs come, he always wants to rock. He just holds on to it too long, in my opinion. We'll see if he's learned anything over these years. If he's learned to pass and move and do something instead of sticks in his hands most often, then they're going to be dangerous. So we'll see what happens. But that's about the three. Those are the three. Let's just put it that way. That I think can win it all. Boston on the outside would be four to me. I just think it's very hard to keep playing in June every year. back to back and doing things like that. So that's pretty cool. But they're a hell of a good team as well. So we'll see what happens. All right. Let's see. He goes, good thing I showed them how to fish. It's up to them. I introduced them to investing. I want them to learn options once they're more settled in their careers. Yep. Um, yeah, that's what I've been doing too. Talk with my daughters about investing. Same thing we talk about here. So, but you know how it is. Everybody wants to do their own thing. So I just try to help them, whatever. But I'm still, like I said, man, I'm still like, it's going to be hard out here way later. Another 20 years from now is going to be hard. Hell, I might need it. You know, if I live long enough, I might need it. So either way, it's a, catch 22, but that's the goal. Orlando Magic, baby. All right. Guess who's coming back? The Knicks. All right. The Knicks are dangerous. They have pieces. I just don't think they're going to win a championship. That's all. They have the pieces to get pretty far. They can get to the Eastern Conference Finals, but I don't think they're getting past that. We'll see. Orlando Magic. What's his name? Bancaro, whatever his name is. He's badass. But no, they're not handling biz this year. And but it is what it is. I think those are the three: Cavs, OKC, Lakers. Any one of those three is going to win. I think. We'll see what happens. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here on this Friday night. I love you all very much. I appreciate your support over all these years. I thank you so much for making all the comments and letting people know what you guys are doing as well, because everybody does investing differently, whether it's offshore real estate, onshore real estate, if it's stock market, if it's income dividends, option dividends, if it's dividends, if it's that's what I love. Everybody has their own different way that they're investing, making things work. So thank you, everybody, for sharing. Thank you, EV. I appreciate you for saying what you said. And everybody else, I love you. And always, please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here. And that's why you have no choice. You know it's going to cost more money 2 years from now. You know it's going to cost more money 8 years from now. You know it's going to cost more money 15 years from now. How are you going to make sure that you have money? That's the problem. How? Well, there's only one way. Make sure you lock in something now that's going to appreciate. Is that gold? Yes. Is that silver? Yes. It doesn't give you any dividends. Is that real estate? Yes. Does that give you dividends? Yes, in the form of short-term rentals or rentals. So you're the CEO, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you try to do your best. And we'll talk about it on Monday, Money Making Monday, and we'll find out, am I getting my 4-5% more? So we're at 10% for 3 weeks of the month, going on to something like a 12 or 15% return for the month. When the 28th comes, oh my, or the 30th, we'll see. I'm a little excited because I'm going to go crazy if I see 15% in 1 month. And now I'm going to go even crazier if I can duplicate it the next month, right? That's what the idea is. We want to do 15, 15, 15, 15. That would be awesome. I'll be like that. I'll be very, very happy with that. We'll see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with all that said, make sure you keep your head up, keep moving.